It's Our Story. Joan Headley, St. Louis, Missouri.
She did it all volunteer. I mean, all of the editing and all of the information that she collected. I mean, it was always out of her home. Even when she died in 1989, it was still in her, it was still in her home. So she didn't receive any pay. There was no rent because it was in, she just went upstairs and went to bed. People would, donate money. They started a, membership fee. I'm not sure when, 83 or 84 or something like that. But even if you didn't pay, you still received the Gazette. So, I mean, the expenses were, paper printing and mailing, and part of what they would talk about, even with the mailing, was she would have. She had a pool in Cleveland, so they would have LSD parties where you would lick, stamp, and dunk. So when she would collect information for a year and then mail it just once a year. And so she would get all of the polio people or her friends, everybody she could muster who would come, and they would have a party around the pool, and that would be the time where they would stuff the newsletter that they had printed in envelopes and then put stamps on it and address it and drop it in the mail. So obviously there was some expense for that. She, people would donate to her. There's some things in the archives where they would send out little cards, and it would be, I can remember one in particular that has a cat drawn on it, and it said, "Our kitty is empty, so please send us money." One year she had, I think they had Siamese cats, and so one year they advertised or whatever and offered the, is that the right word, stud? I don't know, for cats anyway, that kind of, so they did that. She used to do what they call the brown bag. She'd buy little bags and she would send them to people, and then it would be their brown bag collection, and they would send them the bag, and then she'd ask them to stick money in it and send it back. And so she did that as well. I came in 87, and there was a lady who was there 2 years before me, but that was really the first paid positions. It was probably 85. And there was then administrative help as well. And then that's when it became more, where you had to have more money. She didn't have a regular mailing schedule. I mean, she would try to do one every year, but she would say she would just collect information, and then when she got enough information, then she would send it out. The first mimeograph newsletters, I think they called it the Toomeyville Gazette because of the pavilion being the Toomey Pavilion, and then she took it over and called it the Toomey Junior Gazette because she thought that her taking it over meant that she couldn't do it as well as they could, so it would be a junior edition of it. And then when they moved to St. Louis, maybe that's when they changed it to the Rehabilitation, because it made no sense to call it Toomey, because they weren't there anymore. Changed it to the Rehabilitation Gazette. In 1983, they changed the name of the organization to Gazette International Networking Institute, which is really GINI. So they did that because to everyone, Rehabilitation Gazette was a magazine, and they wanted it to be known that this was now an organization. So that's why they made that change, because they wanted to switch from it just being a magazine to being an organization. And then they chose to honor her by coming up with Gazette International Networking Institute. And so we'd call it Big Gini and Little Gini. Big Gini was the organization, Little Gini was Gini the person. And then she died in 1989. We switched in 2003 to Post-Polio Health International, mainly because nobody knows what Gazette International Networking Institute is, and you can get bogged down explaining what that is and not get to the, and it had been long enough since she had passed away that it didn't cause too much stress from people who knew her. But from my point of view, when people would call and ask and want to be interviewed and want to know about polio and the late effects of polio, you would always get bogged down in why are you called Gazette International Networking Institute, and you get into this whole story, and that really wasn't what they wanted to know, and it didn't get to the core of post-polio syndrome and the late effects of polio. And so it's been a good thing for the organization, but that's why we did it.
Okay, now we know.
Now you know.
The It's Our Story project is a national effort to make disability history public and accessible. Visit us at www.itsourstory.org or on the It's Our Story project YouTube channel.